Well, welcome back to the shop. This is Western Washington. It's not supposed to snow like this. It snowed day before yesterday. Yesterday it snowed all day. Today it's snowing again. Fortunately, one of the very motivated young men from next door came over and offered to shovel my driveway, which I gratefully accepted. I'm down in the shop trying to not be discouraged with the Jeep project, so I thought I would work on the hood ornament today. Put a Dremel tool onto it and then just try and grind it down a little bit. The first layer of aluminum Bondo. So we'll see how that goes. Going to put it on time lapse and I'll be back in a while. Well, welcome to the shop. It's days, maybe weeks later, I don't know. I'm still dicking around with this hole in the floor. I'm terrified of doing the welding this morning. I had to cut out another big patch because I'd blown holes in such thin metal here. And I should be able to repair it this morning, I hope. I sincerely hope. It's a little too much for me. I should stay away from this automotive repair nonsense, but I'm going to try and weld it up now. I'm not going to film it because here's the catastrophic hole I blew in the last piece. You can see how thin it is and what my aborted repairs looked like from the bottom side. And I'm just terrified that that's what's going to happen. I'm going to have to keep on coming back farther and farther, which I really do not want to do. So we shall see what happens with it. Sometimes settling for second best seems to be the right plan. I was just blowing further holes into it, so I'm done with it. I'm just going to let this filler dry for a couple of days, grind it off, and then try and set the second patch. And of course blow more holes into it while I'm trying to weld the second patch in, but that's a story for another day. Days later, weeks later, months later, I don't know, I can't tell for sure. Still down in the shop, got a bunch of other things happening. Bought myself a shear. Worked really hard on trying to get this floor piece in, and really then discovered that 18 gauge metal was not the right thickness. 16 is the thickness, and so I've just created the second piece of 16 gauge, and I'm hoping that it will work. And I had at one point thought I was going to put a support structure behind it, and therefore I drilled these holes, and now I have to fill them all in and then tack this piece into place, then bend this piece in and tack it into place after. I think I'm gonna first fix this one into place, make it happen, instead of trying to put it all together as one piece. And that's the story for right now. Get discouraged. You know, you get discouraged on a project like this and you have to turn away from it for a while, but it's slowly kind of working out. Anyway, it's mid-March, and actually towards the end of March, and I'm happy to be here. Well, so I've started to weld this, tack this in, this plate in, regardless of what the consequences are. I'm going to put it in and work out the second patch as I can. But for the moment, we've been tacking it. So I'm hoping that this is going to hold on this thin 18 gauge underneath it. Well, welcome back to the shop. After days, weeks, months of screwing around with this one little piece of floor, I may now finally have the second piece fitting reasonably well. Sufficiently well that I'm going to call it a day and weld it in. So we shall see, but I think it's at the moment going to work out. Well, I can't begin to tell you how much dicking around this has been, but it's in for hell or high water. The grinding and the finish welding I'm going to leave for another day. Obviously there's lots more to do. I've got a hole to fill, one here and one down here. I need to get a piece of copper behind that, so I'll crawl underneath the car and figure that out. But it's in. It's going to be all right. I need to have primed on the underside and didn't, of course, but we'll get at it from the underside as best we can and worry about the rest of it later. Well, welcome back to the shop. In the department of willing to settle for less, I've decided to finish out the welding and cover it all with Bondo and wait for the Bondo to dry, sand it down, prime it, seam seal it, call it good. It's a whole bunch better than the hole that was there in the floor before. So I was able to create a powder coating oven out of a stove that I bought, and this is the project that I'd like to powder coat. It's a hood ornament from a 1956 Studebaker. It's broken off at the tail here, but it's just a cool piece of metal. It's pot metal. And I've filled it with an aluminum paint, hoping that will still make it conductive and therefore able to be powder coated. So we'll see whether that will work or not. I'm not sure whether I should put weldable primer on it and try and sand that off to do the final filling, or whether I should do some high build primer that I ordered. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure what to do with it. I think I'm going to go for the high build, and if it doesn't hold the powder from the powder coating, then I'll just spray paint it and call it good. Anyway, that's the project for the shop right now. The tool that I got the most use out of recently was this Harbor Freight shear, throatless shear, which really came in handy. Mounted it on this platform and put it on a bench, and it really did the job wonderfully for creating the pieces that I needed to fit that floor piece in. So very happy to have bought that tool. I'm not one of those people that speaks against Harbor Freight. They give me exactly what I expect: inexpensive tools, and lots of them. Right, well, let's go see if a coat of paint will go on the underside of it. One of the things in the Jeep that I repaired was the edge that takes the, I'm not quite sure what it is, the rubber molding that seals it. So changed my mind, gonna do the top surface too. That's it. Well, it's not pretty, but it's done. You definitely call it done. Got a combination of a couple of different kinds of paint back on here to try and make it blend in a little bit more with the floor. Obviously the filling and the welding is not very good, but it's a whole bunch better than the hole that was in the floor there. So that's it for this project. Now we're going to move on to the fuel tank. Thanks for stopping by. Hope to see you again. Well, welcome to the shop and the interminable Jeep project. Just wanted to give you all a quick view of my faux paint job on the floor repair. That's as best I can get it to sort of vaguely match the look of the floor. That will make this project complete, and I'm very glad that it's done, because I'm pretty tired of it. Anyway, thanks for coming.